Humanity has long defined itself by what it can touch, taste, hear, see, and smell. We built entire philosophies, sciences, and worldviews around these 5 familiar portals to the world. Yet somewhere along the way, we mistook the instruments for the musician. Consciousness, the one thing that makes all sensing possible, was quietly demoted to the background. We talk about having consciousness as if it were an accessory to perception, rather than perception itself. But in truth, consciousness is the primary sense, and everything else is simply how it chooses to feel itself. Before there was light to see or sound to hear, there was awareness, the silent witness, the original openness. Consciousness doesn't detect the world like an organ or a device. It is the medium through which detection happens. Without it, the entire orchestra of reality plays into emptiness. You can think of consciousness as the white canvas beneath all colors. The senses are the brushes, but the canvas gives the art coherence. What we call experience is simply the meeting point, where the brush of sensation meets the awareness that holds it. The external senses are translators, not truth-tellers. Sight doesn't see photons. It decodes them into the illusion of color. Hearing doesn't hear air vibrations. It interprets them as tone and rhythm. Touch, taste, and smell are no different. They're beautifully evolved algorithms, tuned for survival, not enlightenment. These senses build a shared map of reality, a consensus projection of the external world. But a map is not the territory. What we experience as out there is always already in here, inside the theater of awareness. So when we talk about the 5 senses, we're actually describing the 5 externalized modes of translation, not perception itself. Just as the eyes open outward, consciousness opens inward too. The internal senses are quieter, more easily ignored, yet they reveal an entirely different dimension of reality, the self-perceiving organism. Interoception is the body's language, the awareness of heartbeat, hunger, tension, and warmth. It keeps us in tune with the flow of our own physiology. Proprioception gives us spatial coherence, a sense of where we are without needing to look. Chronoception, the felt sense of time's passage, is the inner metronome that synchronizes awareness with change. Emotional perception reads subtle shifts in feeling tone, energy, and intuition. It's the sense through which consciousness feels its own motion. These internal senses are the mirror of the external ones. Where the 5 externals map the world, the internals map the self within the world. Together, they form a closed loop, a feedback system through which consciousness continuously perceives, interprets, and adjusts its own experience. Perception isn't linear. It's recursive. External senses feed internal awareness. Internal awareness feeds consciousness. Consciousness, in turn, shapes what the senses perceive. It's a fractal loop, a self-sensing system. Every level of that loop has its own form of awareness. The body is aware of balance. The emotions are aware of resonance. The mind is aware of pattern. Consciousness is aware of awareness itself. From this perspective, consciousness isn't the top of the hierarchy. It is the hierarchy. Every sense, internal or external, is a reflection of the same root awareness refracted through different filters. Modern culture has become addicted to external data. We worship measurement, visibility, and proof. But the inner senses, The ones that perceive feeling, intuition, and the quiet motion of thought are treated as unreliable, even suspicious. Yet, when you pay attention, you realize that all senses, inner and outer, meet at the same point, the conscious observer. It's not the eyes that see, it's you looking through them. It's not the ears that hear, it's you listening through them. The 5 external senses are like windows. The internal senses are like reflections in the glass. And consciousness? It's the light that makes both visible. To truly sense again, we must restore the forgotten order. Consciousness first, sensation second. The more we tune into the internal senses, the breath, the pulse, the rhythm of thought, the clearer it becomes that the external world and the inner world are not separate. They're 2 halves of a single experience. Consciousness is the bridge that connects them. It is the sense of all senses, the perceiver of all perception, the living witness that experiences reality from both sides of the mirror.